All right.
By the way, I saw Chris Pogachnik at the grocery store yesterday.
Oh, wait a second. We are taping. Don't forget that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, he's not coming back
Right.
next semester, as you know. So
Right.
we probably need to talk about emergency, hiring or whatever for the class that needs to be taught. I guess that he is not teaching.
Right. That's the physics 4A in the weekend. And the class had sufficient number of students. I think the class would go because the district want to have some weekend options flying, and I think the 4A was being successful. I think, but there is another weekend class that is not being successful. That is the astronomy class. I mean, we tried before with the Nargis and didn't fly, and we are trying now with Swenfen. And the last I checked, there was 6 students enrolled, so chances are not going to go. And then Vera talked to me about it, and then my suggestion was to cancel this astronomy weekend class and offer the 4A load to Swenfen. If he can do it. So Vera, I think, contact him, and the email, I was also trying to contact him to see if that is something he can do. And I think depends on his schedule now, basically.
Yeah, it'll make it easier instead of trying to find someone from the outside, I guess.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Especially in the weekend, it's complicated.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, the labs might be cut short.
Yeah.
Or lecture might be squeezed on Friday night, and then we lose control. We don't know what's going on weekend. There's a big party here, so we have to be careful and know who's going to be teaching, basically. All right, so this is the meeting of the astronomy and physics departments. I'm here, Mike Massoud is here, and Rick Francisco is here. And this is being taped, so behave well. And it's going to be exported to everybody else. And then I hope to finalize in a document and send to whoever the dean is, which so far we don't know who is going to be.
We don't know yet, huh?
We have no idea. It's a mystery.
Now, is Mark still acting as the interim dean at this point?
He is. Well, I hope he is, because every single email I send, I CC him, and somebody's arriving. That is Olenka, puffing and puffing and puffing.
Hi, Olenka.
Carrying books is of. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's a big box. I'm pretty sure it's full of IPAs.
I have another box in the car with more lab.
Oh my lord! Oh
you guys are having a party over there. I should have gone.
All right, so here we are. So Olenka is here too, and I think we are all squeezed here around.
Hi, Mike.
Hi there.
Hey, Mike.
All right, there you go. There you go.
It's amazing I can do this on my phone.
That's the beginning of the end, maybe.
Yes.
We all stay isolated.
1984.
There you go.
It's coming.
Okay, so the first topic was any specific equipment needs to be purchased. This is going. I mean, by the way, this is going to go to everyone, and it's important that when we start the semester, the ideal situation is to have all the purchase done of demos and anything you think is valuable for your class, and we don't have, and you'd like to have. Would be nice to submit to Van as soon as possible. Yes.
Okay. So I submitted the stuff to Van of the things that I thought we need to get, like speakers and a few other, like the long sound, speed of sound tubes.
The tubes and the speakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the most expensive thing on the list was the photoelectric effect equipment. They're $1,000 a piece.
Right.
We don't have the money for that, I don't think. I don't know. I mean,
is this the photoelectric you were thinking as a demo thing or as a lab thing?
As a lab for all the students to work on, in groups. But each individual setup is about $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
And
It's
these certainly
ridiculous
would
how
be
how
for
expensive these things are.
2B maybe and 4C.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so I said I want to take a look around a little bit more, but that's probably the going price for that.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think we should have it. We never had one. I think we could afford to get 3 sets to begin with, and then see how the money goes. Because um, as far as I know, Van told me that one of the accounts had been paid, and that was about $3,000 or $4,000,
Okay.
which out of it, some money has already been taken out for little things that she purchased
Okay.
before. So we don't have much money there, but more money will arrive. So I don't think we have a lot available for beginning of fall, but I think we could have 3 sets for the end of fall. And
Okay.
because the money, which I think we're gonna get, is about $10,000 if they double what, or they mirror what they did last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
My understanding is that from the equipment that I saw on the Pasco website, all it is basically some sort of incandescent bulb with a bunch of filters, color filters, red, yellow, green, and blue. Very similar to the telescopic filters we have.
Yes.
And they're selling this with a detector that is basically a photometer that you connect up to, to your computer. And so, in fact, there is no computer for this thing. It's just a digital readout on the side.
I wonder if we already have the parts to emulate this experiment with vernier.
We might actually have that. I just need to go down there and see whether or not it'll work.
That's something we should do. I will be here this afternoon. If you could come over, we could take a look.
Okay. Those telescope
vernier
filters
has
that
at
we
least
have,
10,
the color
10
filters,
sets
may
of it.
actually
Okay,
be
go
sufficient.
on. Go on. I miss you. Can you repeat it, what you said?
Oh yeah, the telescopic filters that we have, the color filters that we bought, may just be it looks like it's the exact thing that this Pasco setup was using, except that it was all auto, it's all one piece. There's 4 filters on one wheel.
Yeah.
Just click it from one setting to another, and you let the incandescent light pass through.
Okay.
And you basically take your reading using one of the detectors.
Okay. Mike, we might have it. We purchased from Vernier, I think, 10 sets of a experiment that enable us to measure Planck constant. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, from there, photoelectric is just a jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all we need. Okay, so if we got it already, then this is a moot point. We don't need to pursue this then.
Yeah, so I will be here this afternoon. I can play around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, wait a second. So I'm just taking notes for the electric so I know what's going on, and then later on I can expand it. Anything else regarding equipment, Rick, observatory? Did we receive the filters?
Oh yeah, we have 10 sets.
We have 10 sets, and we have the Eclipse, the glasses.
I should check. Where's that place where the mail is at the Retrographics?
The Reprographic.
Oh, I know where it is.
But go to the
Reprographics.
warehouse. When she receives it, all go to the warehouse first.
Oh.
So we ordered Eclipse glasses?
Yeah, 100.
200, I think.
200.
You guys are fantastic.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be sitting somewhere here.
Yeah. I bought mine for myself for my trip. So.
And you already got it.
So it's just going to be Rick and me here.
I think so.
Oh, and Robert. Oh, fantastic. So we could handle it.
Okay. I'll be in Nebraska. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Hopefully you didn't rent.
Now.
You didn't rent the car, did you?
I did rent a car. We're going to be driving all the way up there. So.
See, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, there was something in the news that Hertz were canceling people's car rentals.
Why?
Because
What?
they didn't have enough cars. You
Oh
better
my
check
God.
your email that you didn't get a cancellation.
Really?
It was in the
Okay.
news on Tuesday.
Well, if that comes true, I hope not. There is a nice place you can go to see the eclipse. It's very good people, you know.
Partial,
Yeah,
but
I know.
it's still going to be fun. And
We
the
also have
traffic isn't
we
going
have
to
a
be
flight back from
miserable.
Chicago, so yeah, it's
And
not
no
a
hotel
it's not a
costs.
round trip car drive, but you know we're driving there and then we're flying back from Chicago.
Oh,
For 3 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
2.5.
I guess I've taught Eclipse too much.
You can go in the
Yeah.
closet for that.
Exactly.
Oh, it's dark.
It's dark. I
That
think
and
I'll
some
just draw
some
the
Kansas
blinds
City
for a
barbecue.
few minutes.
So
Oh no. There you go.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yeah. Sorry. It's the age of cynicism.
There you go. Well,
looks like Srini Vasan is here.
oh, Srinivasan. Oh, he was going to try it. Let me see. We have 3 of us there.
Yeah.
That's correct. Hey, Srini, can you hear us? Can you see us?
Can't hear.
Oh, let's see if I can chat.
What time would you be here?
Hmm?
On Monday, when are you going to start? 7, 6?
By the way, the
It's in 2
Zoom
weeks,
I
so
know.
app for the iPhone works
I will
great.
get
Okay, very
there
good.
Yeah, all I had to do
possibly-
was type in the number for the meeting, and it sent me straightway to this. I was able to see Celso's big face on there, and
Okay, so I'll meet you.
when he switched over to the screen, I turned his phone sideways, and I could see. I can zoom in, scroll in, and look at the lines, of the things that we're supposed to be talking about, the agenda.
Good. I'm trying to find out how can I send a message to Srini.
Oh, maybe you could
So if I click chat, that should be right, but it's not going through.
chat
Oh, new chat.
or maybe
Right.
have
Oh,
to
it's
type.
right here.
No, there should be something here where you could type.
Contacts. I know, but it's not appearing. So I don't know what's going on with Srini.
Mm.
Yeah, I know
Yeah, I
he's
saw his
there.
name pop up briefly, but that's all I saw. That he joined the meeting.
Give him mouse. Oh, wait a second. What is this? Srinivasan 14. Waiting for Srini to control your screen. No, I don't want to.
I got a picture of yours.
Wait a second.
Is there some sort of a strategy?
Okay, so let's keep moving.
It's been like this
So
for
we
a
don't
week.
stay here forever. Okay, second item was the common labs,
It's better.
and I think I sent to you all ideas of labs that we are going to run for 2A, 4A, and Physics 1, 2B, 4B, Physics 1, and astronomy is a complicated issue, and physical sciences, I'm not sure what's going on. We don't have a lot of enrollment in physical sciences, and I heard some rumors of that might not go in case we don't pump up the number of students. So, but yeah, I have to talk to Jagruti specifically about labs. But the question is, did you guys went through that? Are we happy with that? Do you want to make changes? Changes can be made, but had to be communicated with Van, who is supposed to oversee labs. And the idea is, as we want all the labs, the time the lab is ready to go, all the equipment, and the lab that is supposed to run that day, and the equipment is all ready to go. I mean, wires are all nicely and neat displayed. We know where parts are. If we need any extra, lab quests, we know where we should go to get carts and everything. All the parts and cables should be properly put away, and it's a lot for Van to coordinate, and which means, and I don't know about Rick. I mean, we would love to have Rick on board, especially because of astronomy, but so far I haven't heard if there is any positive move to hire him. So I tried to talk with Mark today, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But I submitted a request to hire 3 federal work students. I sent the proposal yesterday, and the 2 students would help physics and 1 student help astronomy. In case we have Rick on board. If we don't have Rick on board, I don't know. I'm not gonna have a student in astronomy. It's gonna be complicated. Anyway, so the floor is open for labs. So what do you guys want to say? Why is this turning to me?
Because it's your machine.
But
What was that, Rick?
Why is it turning to me?
because you're in the middle.
Oh, gosh.
So is everything all right? That sequence is okay? You all agree or
I think
approve?
the way the labs are run are perfect. The self-discovery works so well, at least in 2B. And when I had the 1A, it was pretty good. The students know technologically what to do with the machines. And, all I had to do was just give them the physics and the concepts. So,
Okay.
and pull it together. And 2B, the exploration aspect of it was just magnificent. So good that I want to incorporate that into San Jose State's 2B labs.
And
Okay.
we have a new book, right? Beginning the fall.
Yeah, night.
We have the night book. I have to look and
Isn't it good?
I haven't looked yet.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure is your reference, and I saw the
Especially for
online
2B.
support is
It's
phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
To make the full use of the book and all the ancillaries and
Mhm.
online links and demos, we should invest some time, now in August, just to go through the materials and all the links.
I'll be happy to show you and even give you, at least because I taught 2A over the summer from that book. And I
Oh,
could
from the
give you
book.
my PowerPoints
Oh,
that I
okay.
used. And I'm cleaning up the 2B PowerPoints. What is extraordinary about the book is after he introduces a concept, he always has these quick questions. It's a quick check, he calls them. And the students look forward to those. I've
Okay.
never seen that before.
Did you use clickers in San Jose?
No,
No, you didn't.
no clickers. It's not necessary because the clickers is a on-off thing.
Okay.
When we have we actually had discussions with the quick checks. Some of the quick checks are sneaky enough that they caught me off guard, and we had a great time thinking through why the correct answer was correct.
Okay.
And there was a couple that at first I got it wrong, and some of the smart students also got it wrong. And then when we discussed it and we worked back engineering to the answer, it's really a fun time. It really is. The students really get engaged, and when they discover it themselves. But it takes patience, but it's
Take
good.
patience, yeah.
It's good.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm more than happy to come with my USB with all the PowerPoints. Because if you look online for his PowerPoints, each one is about 156 slides for each chapter. But half of that are those quick questions, quick checks.
What did you do in your PowerPoint? Did you went through these 100 slides and then you cut it out and then you kind
Yep.
of
And then I peppered back in the
Okay.
quick checks.
So you have what, 20?
I usually have about 30 to 35 per
30 to
lecture.
35 per
And
lecture.
what I do is I've modified it to clarify things because
Okay.
when the PowerPoints are written, they're a little and
It's a lot
I
of
use-
words or not?
no. I don't do a lot of words. I
Okay.
do lots of pictures
Okay.
and arrows.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Salsa.
And when I was using the 2B book, when I was teaching 2B last semester, of course it was the Friedman book. But then I realized after a while it was a modified 4B book, 4B physics, and they didn't need it. And when I started incorporating night, half of the class found the book online and started using it, and they appreciated that book much better. And they
Okay.
actually read the book.
Okay. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, a couple things. Does night? I think I asked you this last PDD day or so,
Okay.
Olenka.
Yeah.
So the night book you said is for the 2 series, but is there anything comparable to the 4 series
Yes,
for that?
that's what he worked on first. So there
Okay.
is a night calculus, and I know my office mate actually is the one who introduced me to the book, and he
Okay.
used it in his calculus class when he was in Evergreen College in Washington State.
Hmm.
So he used it there, and it's a very similar school like San Jose State. It's a state
Okay.
school. So
we'll definitely cross over to for the students
yeah,
going
even
from Evergreen
Monica
to San Jose
Kress is
State. They'll be
thinking.
okay with it.
Even Monica Kress, she's very hesitant to move over tonight at San Jose State because it's a major upheaval of the program for the Physics
Right.
50 series. But it comes with a workbook that she has included into the lab manual and the workshop stuff. So what she does is she's modified the labs to be workshop labs. So sometimes the students just do worksheets and then the lab and problem solving. So she sort of combines that lab into, multifaceted. And that seems to be working quite well.
Okay.
So the workbook, I think I showed you.
Which book are they using there?
They're using Young and Friedman.
Oh, Young and Friedman.
Yeah, they're using Young and Friedman.
Well,
Okay.
If they move, we can move too.
Yes.
Yeah, they
yes,
are our
yes,
gods.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, we could start a revolution.
All right. Okay. So lab is okay. Michael,
Well,
I didn't do anything with physics 1 because I know you have pretty much under control.
Yeah. Are there any other sections of Physics 1 going on?
There is only one physics 1 section. Is that what you're asking?
Okay. So I guess I'm the only one then.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming you are the one teaching physics 1, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's only one section running.
There is only one section. Yes.
Okay. My next question was that 4C, since I've never taught 4C at Evergreen.
Yes.
And in terms of the equipment, I don't know exactly what we have.
Well, I sent the list of labs that I did, and I didn't have the photoelectric effect in there. But
Okay.
I start for C, instead of using thermodynamics, which is the classical way we've been done here, and since now the SLOs require more modern physics than thermal, I start with optics. So then Vernier can take you through optics all the way to modern physics. And then in thermal, I think we are okay with Pascal equipment.
Okay.
As long as we don't have a lot of loss of air inside these tubes and pipes. And Rick was working on it with it last semester, or when I was teaching 4C. But Pascal, we have enough. We are okay, unless some of the equipment DP used that we don't have a lot. We have probably 6, units, and that's not enough. So you have to go through the list and see what I did, and see. I mean, you can add something else, and. But it would be nice to play before class. That absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Now, item number 2 is class visit to the observatory.
You have 2 number 2s.
There are 2 number 2. That's right. You see, that should be number 3. And then now I have 3 number 3s. Okay. No, 2 number 3s. Okay, 5 is a better number than 4. Okay, class visits to the observatory. There are 3 labs, and the 2 evening labs are not filling as fast as the morning lab. So this is telling us something. The morning lab has become very, very successful, and which probably in the future we might have administrators suggesting us to have more of these labs during daytime, which is okay. But we also have an observatory with good instrumentation.
Right.
And it's better to use telescopes at night than during the day. So yeah, so we have two sections in the evening, one section in the morning. The morning section will not be making a lot of use of the observatory, I don't think. And
That's a
you are
bummer.
teaching the morning section, I suppose.
Yeah.
The evening section, I will be teaching with Olenka, and so the observatory is going to be there. In addition, we have seven. If no section is canceled, we have seven astronomy 10 sections with potential use of the observatory. So since this email is going to everyone, I would like to ask the professors if you plan on taking your class with the observatory to contact me, or better contact Van or Rick Francisco if he's hired, because somebody has to be there to give assistance.
Hmm.
If Rick Francisco is not hired, I really do not recommend the use of the new 10-inch Dobsonians unless you've gone through some training. And since the only faculty that I've seen being trained is Masuda, me, and Olenka, so I would not recommend the use of the 10-inch Dobsonians unless Rick is hired. But the 8 inches is there, and those telescopes can run by themselves, so that wouldn't be a problem. But please let us know if you are taking the class to the observatory, because somebody has to go there afterwards and make sure the doors are locked and the caps are in place and the telescopes are put it away in the proper place. Otherwise, it's going to be a big mess, a big confusion.
Okay. Are there any suggestions for the morning class? Because in the past, the evening class has been one chunk of 3 hours that we work, through once a week to get through the labs. And now my section is broken up into two 1.5 hour sections during the week. Is there anything that I need to do differently, or should I just? I'm afraid that the students are going to finish up the lab on the Tuesday, and then on Thursday, since they're done, they're not going to be working on anything else.
We don't have a lab book. That would be ideal. Coincidentally, Norton, I forgot his name, James Adam, I think that's his name. He contacted and asked if we were going to use his book, which is the book we used before. Olenka was the one who selected the chapters.
Right.
Sean Kemp, he used the book. He claimed the book is too easy, is not a college level, which I don't know. It seems to be okay, and has some demos. Has some blend with our labs as far as optical bench is concerned. We don't have the minerals or the meteorites
Yeah,
needed
I thought we had
in
those.
some of the experiments, so which means we have to be careful. But I talked to the publisher. They could release the book, and they, of course, they are happy to, but they can't sell. They need to have an agreement of at least 100 students enrolled. So I don't want to use the book in the evening because I want to make my class more centralized on the telescope itself, the use of
Right.
telescopes. So I would try as much as possible to have the class in the observatory. So therefore, I would not use a manual. But you could use a manual, if you want, I can make a case for you and see if they could kind of instead of 100 in a semester, how about 100 in 2 semesters? And then we could negotiate. But yes, you're right. You have to break down your modules in 2 sections. Do a little bit in one and a little bit in another.
If I can jump in here,
Yeah.
because I was teaching at Foothill in the mornings with the Astro Labs, and we also had daytime labs at San Jose State when they were running labs.
2 sections,
Yeah.
broken down.
No, it was one section.
One session, one chapter.
In Foothill, it was during the summer we were meeting every day, so it was one lab broken up in 2 sections. So I've got quite a few worksheets and lab manuals that I've compiled from various resources. For instance, Kepler's law. I have a warm-up that Andy Fracknoy kind of built up, and I use that as a warm-up because it really is very high schoolish.
Stop it. It's going to be exported.
Yeah. Well,
But
is
he's
high schoolish.
retired, so
he's retired and he's honored. And then what I did was I did a follow-up with one of Les Tomley's lab that we did at San Jose State, which is a little bit more complicated, where you actually had to do a combination of measuring distance, using an actual ruler to measure the distance from a photographic picture of where the moons are over a 10-day period, and then fit a curve and extract all that, p squared over a cubed, and then get the mass of Jupiter. And that was a nice two-day lab.
Okay.
So I've got a bunch of those. And that's really why I brought one box and I got another box in the car. And that was one of the things that I was hoping to kind of deposit these things here so I could come here once or twice a week in the next 2 weeks to compile our own manual that would work for the daytime and the nighttime, and not use that manual that we had a few semesters ago.
So certainly, I will not.
Because it's
I
expensive.
will go back to
Yeah, it's very expensive. The students really don't get. It's more of a reading book instead of a doing book.
Right.
Is there a copyright on?
No. On Andy Fracknoy's, there's a copyright. Yeah.
Okay.
But as long as you give him credit, which his name is underneath, he's fine with that.
Yeah.
Les Tomley gave me free will to do anything I want with his labs.
Okay.
And I even have a rubric that he gave me and answer sheets. And it really is a very, very nice set of critical thinking labs. He put in a lot of work to it, and it works.
Okay.
So, did you ever take his Astro 102?
No, I never took astronomy over there.
Oh, geez.
I took celestial mechanics with Hamill. That was pretty much the extent of it.
Yeah. Well, there really is a very, and the thing is that's nice about this is that there's so many of these labs, you can pick and choose the ones that you want to work on the day of. There's a nice one, there's a few labs in there with astrobiology focus.
Oh, wow.
Of what does it take to terraform Mars? And that's a two-parter. What I always did with that, I did 2 labs that were policy, and I always left the last one for the last day of classes so that all it was participation points. And basically they do the terraforming lab and find out all the different ways of terraforming. And then on the last day of class, I asked them whether we should terraform. In between, I had an interesting lab that the students really took to of what should we do if aliens come knocking on our door? Not to kill us, not Hollywood style, but they came, they discovered that we're here, or they finally decided that we're grown up enough for them to reveal themselves. How should we deal with it? And I broke up the class in terms of what the students were majoring in. So if they were majoring in biology, I gave them the health version of it, the biology, the quarantine. If they were going to be engineers, how do you try to get information? What kind of information do you want to get? If they were going into public relations or hospitality or that kind of aspect of it, how do you make them feel comfortable? And then I also put them in charge because they were the ones that were going to communicate between the aliens and the authorities here on Earth.
Interesting.
It turned into where I present the rules. They took off with it. And those were the labs that I had to get them out so I could get to my next class. They wouldn't leave. And then having those 2 labs at the end of the semester, they would discuss, and some students had very, very strong opinions not to go to Mars and to go to Mars. We have no business being. It's fascinating. And
prime directive.
so
Yeah.
what's nice is that they're introduced to science policy, that scientists are involved in world affairs, which is important right now with climate studies.
Right at the end of semester, they also
Or
have
time.
a strong, base in astronomy.
Exactly.
They can put that information in the
Exactly.
debate and discussion.
Exactly. I've got
Yeah.
another one that's an exoplanets. They get data, and then they have to plot the data. And once they know about the radial velocity method, whether it's a planet or not, and that kind of trips them up. But then they have fun with it too, because they're exposed to action. And the whole thing is they bitch and moan for the first start that they have to use a ruler instead of using something on the computer. But by the end, they learn, oh, wait a minute, I know what to do with numbers. And they're happy. They're surprised at how much they learn. So that's my experience.
Okay.
So you're saying you
If you have those things readily available on campus somewhere that
They're
we can all
sitting
have
behind-
access to, that would be
They're sitting
she
behind
came
Rick,
with a box full of folders and binders, and
organized with labels.
it's organized.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll find a little closet where we can have the astrolabs. I got another box too,
Okay.
so you can look at it later.
I
right.
wonder if, you're gonna put a sequence of labs for
I would
yourself.
like to do that. Yes,
So if you put a sequence of labs for yourself, could you share?
absolutely.
Okay.
That's my whole point.
So then
And feedback. I need feedback from
Right,
you to
right.
tell me whether I'm just blowing up my nose.
right.
Whether
So the thing I'm sensing here at this point is that the daytime lab for astronomy and the nighttime lab are going to be two completely different things.
only with respect to using the telescopes.
Yeah, that's my impression. Because see, if you take the students to the observatory, you have to have um, the sky has to be past twilight.
Right.
So in the beginning of summer, this won't happen, right? In September, probably in October, we might start to have darker nights. But then we start having weather issues with the cold, nights and rain. So it's complicated. We don't have a lot of telescope time up there. So I will try in the evenings that I'm teaching to tailor the class so that they go there, they take the telescope, and they do things with it. And the other part, I have to use, whatever material I can be happily working with students in classroom.
And it's still astronomy.
It's still astronomy. Cookies, Oreos, moon's phase, things like that. And
I really think
Kepler's
with all
law
of
was
us here,
important.
especially if Rick is here, we can develop our own manual that can work. We can't publish it because it's other people's
Right,
labs, but at least it could work for us.
Right,
I agree.
right.
And it could be we could charge them for the price to print it up, $5 a manual with worksheets in there. Because usually what happens is I'm Xeroxing right before class.
Yeah,
And it's always a
that's too
panic.
stressed. You could take this relaxing time, 10, 15 minutes before class, talk to
for a beer.
students. instead
No,
of a beer.
talk to students instead, yeah.
Oh, God, instead of running like a maniac, trying to get things printed and realize the machine is broken, and it's complicated.
Oh, Celso.
Yeah.
So the last time I was up at the observatory, I did bring up the optical fiber and one of the spectrometers from
And a lab
115.
quest too, right?
And the lab quest, yeah. I never got around to putting that together.
Yes.
So it would be nice to test that out to see, whether or not it actually works with the main scope there, the one under the dome.
Well, we can try Friday, tomorrow. We'll have time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, tomorrow is Friday.
Yep. Tomorrow is
Tomorrow
Friday,
is
Mike.
Friday. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can try. We can see if we can get some nice display. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may or may not be able to make this Friday, so
Okay. No
yeah.
problem.
But if you can try to put it together and see if you can get any results that resemble the OB A Fine Girl Kiss Me sequence, that would be great.
All right.
Yeah.
I have to get the copular over here where it goes into the eyepiece.
Yeah,
It's over
yeah,
here.
yeah. So we can take care of.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Master Rick will figure something out. You have to place the optic fiber in place, and he'll take care of that.
Oh, there's going to be 40 children
Yeah, I saw the email. Yeah,
with maybe 40 adults.
yeah, and
Maybe Friday's not the best time to do this then.
well, Rick was mentioning this 40 kids and 40 adults. That was before. That was going to be before the public viewing. So
Okay.
yeah,
We can probably hold off on the spectrometer
We'll see.
aspect until
We'll
next
see.
week.
we try. Nargis might be there. She said she will try to. Oh no, not on August, but in the fall she would try to make
September.
it to the public viewing. Yeah,
September.
so no problem. Any question regarding Astro10L? So pretty much, Olenka is going to be leading this.
I'll be happy to do it. I mean,
Okay.
I've got the equipment. I mean, I've got it. I've been collecting
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I kind of like it.
Do you have all that stuff on a jump drive or anything?
Absolutely not.
We should
I,
put them on a hard drive or something.
well, once we have to figure out something. We'll
That way, if
yeah.
you need to make copies, you just plug
Exactly.
it into the
Yeah.
printers up there.
But a lot of that came from hard copies. They're not PDFs.
But if you get a scanner,
But yeah, if we scan it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ideally, it would be nice to
takes a while
scan
to
it
do
and
that.
then modify it and turn it into a Word doc so that each teacher can modify to their own needs. Tweaks.
Let me just quickly write here so I won't forget. Is computer software. George. We asked George to install Starry Night in our computers. We bought new Starry Night, but
Yeah.
as far as I know, it's not installed. And also, we would like to have Logger Pro installed in SA119
Yes.
because if we want to take demos to SA119 vernier demos, we need to have a software there so that we can project to the students, especially the scale that we have, which is great for demonstration. We have to have this software. So I just add that up. Okay.
Could you also send to George some information about, or just ask him whether or not the audio is hooked up in 119? Because over the summertime, I tried to load up either videos from online or a DVD.
You couldn't get sound?
No sound. It only came out of the computer, which is a very tiny sound.
Yeah.
So the speakers were not working, despite the fact that he looked at them initially, I think at the beginning of summer, and then they worked once, and then they stopped working again.
Okay, I will pass it on. I will certainly
And this
do.
needs to, because there's a lot of classes and they're relying on
Yes.
on that equipment. It needs to work on the first day
Okay.
and every day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kind of a next to the last item, maybe it's the last one, is SLOs. I was supposed to run and to pass the results through the machine. I haven't done. They are still there to go. I don't think I would do it. Probably I should, but I don't think I will. We did something nice this time, which was to have everyone submitting the questions. But the questions submitted were not the questions each professor would like to have made to their students. And that comes to the point that I would like to have a set of SLOs that represent not SLOs, but SLO questions or assessments that represent not only or reflect not only our SLOs, the contract we have, but also the teaching, specifically the teaching we we deliver in our class. Sometimes the questions have to do with the SLOs, but we do not emphasize those skills kind of embedded in the questions in classroom, so the students can do well. But in some other sections, the students will do well because the respective professor emphasizes those skills. So it is thinking an ideal universe, an ideal world, would be to have professors that are responsible for the sections to get together and say, hey, those questions would be fantastic. And we don't have that. So, and I'm just throwing this in the floor and expect that we all get, okay, no, let's get together and come up with a series of questions that we are happy with. I don't think this is going to happen. Which means, although I said I will not get statistics on the spring SLO assessments, I probably have to do that. And I probably have to submit them again in the fall so that we can close the loop. Once I identify some weaknesses that we have in our program. And this has to be done in the next 2 weeks. So again, I don't know if I will be able to do that. I will try, but I'm not sure. And the silence just comes after.
SLOs are horrible.
No one is talking about SLOs so much. I don't know if they are still required. I heard they might try to do something different. And so I don't know. Okay, and that's it.
Are all campuses, all community or college campuses doing SLOs on a regular basis at the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester? Are they asking these questions of the students?
No, I think most of the SLO assessment that I know of, they deliver the subject, and then in the classroom they give some questions or something to the students right after, and then they can get 70%, 80% because it's all fresh. And it's kind of tied to what they taught.
Yeah, well, that's very biased because the way we do it at the very end of the semester where they've completely forgotten about it, over the past few months.
That's what I heard in the AAT, American Association of Physics Teachers. They recommend something like that.
That's probably why our scores aren't doing as well as we hope them to do because we're using the wrong approach.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. They say, well, the questions shouldn't be questions like problems, right? Which is difficult because some of the SLOs use the action verb apply, which means you have to have a freaking equation and you have to apply the equation to solve some situation. And some professors didn't know they could take a memo sheet, and the students wouldn't perform as well if they would with a memo with a cheat sheet. So I think we should probably produce a cheat sheet and get that together with the SLO questions, since we have a lot of applies in physics. Perhaps we should do that. But I agree with you. What we are trying to do is, okay, are the students capable of, if they need it, go back to their memory banks and use the skills to solve situations? Do they have the intuition built so that they know how physics is operating in this particular experiment or situation? So instead of training the monkey to answer a question.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, so I would try. I the best I can say, I would try to do the statistics and do analysis and send it to Lynette before the semester start. And I think it was you, Mike, that recommended not to submit the questions in the beginning of semester. It saved a lot of time, and I agree. But we should, all of us, should be clear about the questions that will be asked at the end of semester, so that, I mean, we will not train the monkey, but at least we will kind of orient our teaching pathways,
I mean,
so that the students can understand what the they are supposed to respond, not respond. That's funny. You know,
Right.
yeah.
On the other hand, I mean, I'm thinking about this, that if you don't have any questions at the beginning of the semester, it's like having only one data point to make a trend line, and assuming that the other point it goes through 0, 0.
Well, okay. So here, the closing loop is something interesting. I think the closing loop gives you the second point, because you submit the questions. So let's say the class get a statistic of 75% or 74%. So we would say, okay, that's okay. I think they got it. But let's say the statistic is not 30% as we got before, but is 62%. So 62% is no good in any universe. And then we have to say, okay, in this particular SLO assessment, the students got 62%. So let's now, in the fall, do this type of actions in a class, and then assess the students again with the same question. Okay, so that, and then we do it again one semester later, and then the student go from 62% and perhaps to 72%, and then we say, okay, the action, the intervention we operate, it really worked, and the students improved. So we are improving our work. But let's say it remains 62%, it means the intervention was not successful. So this is what it means to close the loop, is to get the second data point that can check if what you're doing is what the state wants us to do. That's my understanding, at least.
There's another issue, I guess, with doing things at the end of the semester and giving them a questionnaire at the very end. They don't take it seriously. The students may just sit there and go, this is just another thing. It's not part of my grade. They'll fill it out randomly and just turn it in because it's not worth their time to fill it out honestly.
So then we have to incorporate that in the final exam, you know, instead of having a separate sheet. I mean, you know what the questions are, put it in there, and give to whoever is organizing the statistics, gives the percentage of that particular question. And then somehow we make some geometric average with the other sections and see what's going to be the final number, something like that.
It has to be absolutely statistically sound, huh?
Okay, so let's say...
I'm just saying because, you know, the numbers, the data that we gather from all this stuff has to be an absolute number in terms of statistics. There's no way to make this assessment more of a qualitative thing as opposed to a quantitative thing.
You have to translate in a number, yes. You could make a rubric like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then when you grade, let's say 28 students, you have to have 4.2%, which would be some percentage. And then you doing your intervention based on those percentages. So yeah, you have to have a number, and also the number of students that have been assessed.
It's too bad we can't incorporate these into part of our PowerPoint presentation as one of the clicker questions. Throughout the semester, just
some professors do that. They give the class the lecture and then they run a clicker question. Simple. They could do it. But again, everyone else have to be on board and do the same thing because there are different sections.
Right. That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. And it has to be consistent so that in the following semester, that's going to be the assessment done so that we can compare how the students are progressing. If every semester we do something different, there is no baseline, no comparison.
Right. I'm just afraid that the way we're doing it and how other places are doing it right after they cover the material, we're always going to be falling behind in terms of that because there's that lack of, a few months of letting them forget the material, and then attacking them at the very end of the semester saying, hey, here's the assessment questions. They have to regurgitate that from months ago.
Listen, but there is something here that we are forgetting. In our course outline, we have midterms and final exam. So final exam is supposed to be different from midterm. Otherwise, in your course outline, instead of 3 midterms, we would say 4 midterms, which means the last exam, which is the final, could be assessment made on the last 2 or 3 chapters, and then you don't make a comprehensive midterm. So when you do your course outline, as we do in physics, we have midterms and final exam. So the final exam has to have some quality that's different from midterm, and the only difference has to be the overall aspect of a final exam to be comprehensive, to be a little bit more general than just assessing 2 sections, right?
Okay.
So if you make a comprehensive exam, you could take perhaps 1 section or a couple of hours and do a review on core subjects, core aspects that might even be important for the follow-up course. Let's say 2A, have 2B. And then you can use that space to remind and refresh the memory of students on the subjects that you are going to assess in your SLO, you know. There is a danger there, and the danger is some of us might be tempted to, okay, those are the questions that I will ask, you know. Shouldn't be, but it might happen. So again, the final exam should be general, should be comprehensive, and that's the close-up thing.
Okay.
Yeah. What I do, my final exam, I take because I have 2 or 3 chapters that I haven't covered in midterm, and I make 70% on those chapters and 30% comprehensive. So you still could have your midterm kind of a final code
Right.
in it, and then the comprehensive aspect of it could be your SLOs.
That's what I've been doing. So
Yeah.
I guess we're on the same page on that.
Yeah, so we could make this some ruling, which would save a lot of time making little cards and have, you know, yeah. Paul Hawk, the poor guy, he didn't know what to do. I mean, when am I going to give these SLOs? Because I have final and I have the project. You know, there was no time. So
Right.
if you have the questions embedded in the final exam, that solved the situation.
Well, I think as a department, you and I should probably just mandate that to put that into the
I
final
like a
exam.
dictatorship. We are the king.
Hey, there's a little too much of that going around in the world now. No. We gotta walk away from that. We got a problem here.
Too many emperors.
Too many.
It's like Game of Thrones here.
What do you think, Olenka? Do you think this work?
Yes,
I think.
yes, I'm listening to you, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, it works, right?
It is, and then what you do is you have a special code that you can just pull out those questions on a Scantron or something, and just throw it into a statistical Excel sheet. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the students don't even know they're being SLO'd.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Because Mike's got a point. Now, the way I presented when I did the SLOs in 2A, I presented it to the students as, okay, let's figure out how good a teacher am I. I put it on my shoulders. I want to know if I got the point across to you guys. And this is your time to stick it to me.
I remember I run the statistics, and your class did 60% without the sheets.
Without the sheets.
And that was pretty good.
That was?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I think that was the only 2A that I had.
Yeah.
I don't think I got Srini at that time.
Uh-huh.
Was out of. I think Srini had a different time frame. I had only was yours,
Mm-hmm.
and then I run yours, and I said, "Wow, that was pretty good."
Yeah, because I want them to own it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they own it, and they're surprised at how that they can, and it's not their fault. It's my fault. I take the blame for them not knowing something, because that means I didn't get the point across to them.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's take the. This is what I will do. I will, first of all, I will try to run what we did in the spring and get some statistics. Okay, In addition, I will send the questions. Breaking news. I will send the SLO questions that I have to all of you. And the idea is, okay, those questions will be in your final exam, so embedded in your final exam. And then, but if you want to make changes, let me know and send it back. If I don't hear any changes, so that's it. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Is that democratic enough? Not so much imperial.
Yeah, a little, yeah.
It's kind of a.
It's subtle.
It's the Battaglia mandate.
Oh my Lord! No way.
I like that. I like that.
Okay. And the
Little
last
red book.
topic is Earth Science, but Jagrut is not here. I can talk to her later. And any other topic?
All good.
All good?
Just
Okay.
I
get
think
Rick
it's all
hired.
good.
We need Rick.
We need Rick. We need Rick.
Yes.
We need Rick.
I
We
agree.
got to be here.
Okay.
We got to get you here.
Yeah.
We'll have a bake sale for your salary. Isn't everything done by bake sales nowadays?
Bake sale.
Or crowdfunding?
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Yeah. I know everybody on the Hill would do that.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Nah, the district
Yeah.
has money.
I know they have tons of money. Okay, all right. Okay, I will just thank you all for attending this and see you later.